Yo, what's going on, faithfuls? Your boys are back. It's Sunday. That means it's debate day, and so we're here to break this thing down. Now, before we get to all that, we have to go through the formalities. We want you guys to check us out on the website. That is www.nothingbutniners.com. All right, if you've never been there before, you're going to see some breaking news articles because there was breaking news today. You're going to see some regular articles that are coming out in a timely manner from a bunch of great writers. So make sure you stop by, show us some love, share those articles, guys. After you read them, make sure you share them and send them to other people who may not know about the website, who may not be following us here on YouTube, all right? You're also going to see something else. Our podcasts are there. We also give you guys some exclusive content on the podcast side. We turn a lot of these YouTube videos that people don't have time to watch on their phones or on their laptops into podcasts. That way, you guys can turn them on while you're driving or you're at work, and you can put in some headphones, and you can just go ahead and go. You know, so that's also going to be a good thing. Make sure you leave us some positive reviews on those podcasts. Give us 5-star ratings. Leave a little comment in there. Let us know who you are. We'll shout you out on the next episode also. We appreciate all of those things, okay? Also, you're going to see our social media handles. Our Twitter and our Snapchat are Nothing But 9ERS. You're also going to see our Facebook and our Instagram channels. Those are Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out. Stop by, thumbs up, likes, all that good stuff. Join the community, man. Our Facebook page is thousands and thousands of people, really, really strong. Considering that we started that thing less than 2 full years ago, it's pretty freaking impressive, I must say. Nick, Mike, you guys have done a good job of that. So speaking of Nick and Mike, not Mike me, but the other Mike, I am 49ers Mike _NF. My man Nick is here. He is 49er Faithful 365. We're about to break this thing down. Today's discussion, the Jimmie Ward debate. Nick, how you feeling over there, man? You ready to lose this debate? Huh? What's up? I'm going to convince everybody that Jimmie Ward is a good choice. What's up?
What's up? What's up? Look, I'm already want to know, baby. You know, I'm already want to know. So you're going to tie it up tonight or what? But look, man, I'm excited to talk about Jimmie Ward. You know, we'll touch on the Mike Person signing as well a little bit. If you guys didn't catch our breaking news video on that, you can check that out from Mike, doing it in all ailments of weather out there with the snow and all. But yeah, yes, I said snow because we are on the East Coast. Yes. So yeah, man, I'm excited to do this. So guys, like Mike said, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe this channel, as well as check in on us Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Always live on YouTube on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays. So yeah, man, I'm ready to go.
All right, so let's talk about Person, man. I did the little breaking news video, but the 49ers have, I think it counts as an extension because he didn't officially hit free agency. The league year hasn't started yet. So a 3-year extension for Mike Person, 3 years with $9 million guaranteed. It's going to be really interesting to see how his contract works out in total. You know, a lot of those times when you see the guaranteed money, that's just that, but there's usually a larger part of the pie. So tell me what you think about the Person signing. I know we talked about it. We did a breakdown of the offensive lineman, but let me know what your thoughts are on the guy.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Person didn't struggle like that bad. He had a foot injury week 1. He fought through it. He was basically, you know, the 49ers drafted him, I think it was 2011. In the 7th round, we drafted him. He left. He spent a couple years on, I think, like 2 or 3 teams. But Kyle Shanahan brought him here. To at first when he first signed with us, we thought it was going to be a backup to Weston Richburg playing center. He ended up, you know, he's a center guard, so he has versatility. The deal is not that bad. 3 years, $9 million. I think it's guaranteed $3 million. It's basically a 1-year opt contract, from what I saw. So it doesn't bother me much because this actually says that we're bringing back our entire offensive line that we had last year. Pretty much everybody is either 2021 ends or 2022, depending on other than Joe Staley and Josh Garnett. Because I think Josh Garnett's up in 2019 and Joe Staley's up after 2020. So I would look to see maybe later next year in the middle of the year, depending on how Joe Staley feels, to see if he signs a extension or not. But I like the fact that we're bringing back what was here only because it gets that camaraderie going with the offensive line. Yes, I know our offensive line wasn't the best thing that we had last year, and it could be upgraded or could be fixed. But this contract allows us to still look in free agency, still look at the draft, later rounds of the draft. And Mike Person wasn't as bad as people think. If you know, I don't go by PFF numbers. I go by the naked eye. I thought that he played well playing through an injury. And this could also be something that he could be starting off the year, depending on how Weston Richburg is coming along, as a center. So I'm eager to see what happens in camp, and I think it was I don't want to say it's a great signing. I just think it's a good signing for the team to bring him back, as well as keep that depth and versatility around.
Excellent points there. You know, when I did the breaking news, I had the three years and $9 million. I thought the $9 million was what was guaranteed, but you are correct. It is only $3 million that's guaranteed. That lets you know it's a 1-year deal. All right, it's a total of $9 million with $3 million guaranteed. So it's a 1-year deal, really, with some potential. They're bringing him in to be a camp body. Like, if he's the worst that you got, and he has to make your team, you could be doing a lot worse than that. So I think that's the Niners thinking there. Like you said, he bounced around the league. Weston Richburg is a guy that what I thought was really cool, and I said it in the breaking news video, was that he was here and he has an opportunity to retire here. That's if he plays out the other 3 years. Now, if this is a 1-year deal, he'll likely land somewhere else, somewhere that has used him before, some teams that have some experience with him. That list of teams, by the way, is actually pretty interesting. He went from us in 2011 to the Colts in 2012, Seahawks in 12 and 13, the Rams in 2013 and 14, the Falcons 2015 through 16. That's where the Kyle Shanahan love happens. Then the Chiefs, then the Colts, and then with us again. So he's moved around the league a lot. He's got some familiarity. There's a lot of coaching staffs in place that know who and what Mike Person brings to the table. So he's likely to be one of those guys that can bounce around from year to year, maybe making a vet minimum. So he might not actually retire a 49er, but it'd be a cool story. You know, you talk about a chapter, you know, a book. Those are your two bookends. You start with the 49ers, you end with the 49ers. You got the pages in the middle. I think that'll be pretty cool. But we could do a lot worse than Mike Person. It's cool if he is the guy that is coming in here to be our worst case scenario. That's a good sign. Like Nick said, you're working on that continuity also.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. I think, let me just ask you this question. I know we're not going to touch too much on Person, but what do you think this says for Josh Garnett in 2019?
Well, I think the Niners have a lot of hope in him. I think if the contract was higher, I would be worried about Josh Garnett, honestly. But, you know, Mike Person hasn't been like this perennial starter or anything like that. Joshua Garnett and him were battling for that position, and then Garnett got injured very early in the season, and that was what was pissing off Shanahan. So if you look at his entire career, I mean, he's been in the league since 2011. He's only started 18 games, and the majority of those 18 came this past season with us here in San Francisco. So it's not like he's one of these guys that are coming out here and guaranteeing a roster spot or anything like that. And the contract is indicative of that. The contract will suggest that he's not even guaranteed a starting spot. We've signed guys for $3 million before and then let them go right away. You think back to even before this regime, Darnell Dockett, I believe he signed for more than just $3 million. The running back that was just here, Tim Hightower. Like, you know, there's guys that have been here who have gotten these nice contracts or decent contracts, and the team is like, you know what? No, we're better off without you. So I don't think it – I think that if Joshua Garnett comes in on his BS, then we have a plan C, because I think Joshua Garnett might even be a plan B right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if anything, it just brings that depth, and it allows to have somebody stepping on Joshua Garnett's back end heels again, as well as having Joshua Garnett step on Person's heels as well. So, you know, we've heard GM and we've heard coaches talk all the time that they love competition, and I think that's basically what this is. Hey, this guy didn't do too bad for us. He filled in great. You know, he played with an injury pretty much the whole year. He still played well. I think somebody said in the chat that I was looking at, said they saw he was 18th overall in PFF for offensive lineman. So that's Person. But I don't mind it. I think it's depth. I think it's versatility. I think it's something to keep an eye on as a competition battle for, you know, these two positions. And like I said, it's the versatility of being able to play center too as well if Weston Richburg doesn't come back. So we could very well see not come back, but, you know, late for injury because I think he did have a knee injury as well. So if we do that, that also brings in the fact that maybe Person moves to center until Richburg is healthy. And then Person will move to guard depending on how Joshua Garnett is coming along. If Joshua Garnett is coming along, which I really want to see a breakout season from Joshua Garnett. It's not that I don't think that he's athletic. It's not that I don't think that he can play this game, but it just seems like his head's not always there. We went through the issues with him saying, I want a second opinion on this injury and this injury and this injury, and just basically held things off. So I think that's another reason why maybe they're not as sold on Joshua Garnett, only not because of play, but because of ability and versatility. And the best availability is to be available. So he definitely stalls that, and he did last year. So I'm excited and ecstatic to see what this competition brings.
Yeah, Joshua Garnett seems to be getting a lot of chances here. And I don't know if you know, but so does Solomon Thomas. What do those two guys have in common other than being drafted in the first round by the 49ers?
What do they both have in common?
Other than being drafted in the first round by the 49ers. Yep.
They both barely played in their first couple years.
Both from Stanford, dude.
Yeah, well, I know that, but I'm just saying, they're both from Stanford. So we know that John Lynch or whoever loves Stanford guys, but they both really didn't play earlier in their year because they were Garnett was either injured, Solomon Thomas just was out of position and wasn't excelling, wasn't doing well, and he was pretty much a rotational guy. So I'm excited to see what both of them bring, Person and Garnett. I think it's going to be a good competition, and Garnett has slimmed down if you notice. So we'll see. Maybe he just struggles with certain things that Shanahan's not ready to put him in full effect for. But I guess it's something for us to see as a naked eye.
Yeah, and the last thing on this is that you said someone in the group chat said that PFF had him ranked 18th overall. Yeah, he was the 18th ranked guard overall for offense. He was the 21st ranked guard in run blocking and the 29th ranked in pass pro. So that, again, that's their rankings, and you know how I feel about the PFF rankings. So it is what it is. Either way, though, the Niners could be doing worse, and he's not a bad guy to have in here. He'll be 31 years old when the season starts, so it'll be something to keep an eye on, and he's at least a good depth piece. So I like that.
Yeah.
Now let's get to this debate, because you made a very, very interesting comment. You said flat up that you won the last debate. How did we determine that?
Because we tagged Robbie Gould, and it was worth it.
That don't mean it was worth it because it happened.
Look, we tagged him. We didn't transition tag him. So either way, we both wanted him back. But I was saying use the tag. You were saying don't use the franchise tag, which we did. But we used the non-exclusive tag. So both of us were wrong because we didn't think they were going to use a non-exclusive tag. But either way, it's fun. I'm happy to have Robbie Gould back one way or another. Hopefully he doesn't get mind screwed like you say or think. And then yeah. So oh wow, Mark just dropped us $20. So just want to say thanks, Mark. He says, "What's up, guys? I'm with Mike. I like Ward. I don't know what the contract or roster ramifications would be, but that's why I love tuning into you guys." Mark, I appreciate the drop, man. That's awesome of you.
I'm already winning. Let's get it, baby. What's up, Mark? Let's do this. I got to represent, man. So
look, I need a bigger donation when I go and talk about why we shouldn't bring Ward back, because I'm not bringing his ass back.
Well, listen, man, you make it take it in basketball. So if you think you won the last one, I'm going to let you kick this thing off here. Go ahead and present your best argument. Well, not your best. Maybe you want to say something for later. Keep one in the chamber. But let's go, man. Let's kick this thing off, man. Why should the 49ers not bring back Jimmie Ward?
All right. First off, what has Jimmie Ward done? Right? So I just said about Garnett, and I just said about Person. The best availability is availability. And I understand Jimmie Ward is a freak athlete. He can play corner, he can play safety, he can play in the box, he can play up high. It's just this guy is so injury prone. No matter what, he comes out, he starts balling, and then boom, he's got an injury. Now, some injuries like the broken arm or whatever, broken bones, I can understand. and I don't put on him. And I understand that with our old strength and conditioning staff, we had a lot of core muscle injuries, things like that. But there's a time where you have to learn how to take care of your body. And it's not only this regime that he's been hurt. So I can't take that blame and put it on strength and conditioning this year, as I would with a lot of other guys that have been injured with strength and conditioning, with core muscle injuries, because this has been his entire career. I think he's only played one 15-game career season in his career, 15 games. And other than that, it's been 7, it's been 9, it's been 11. The same thing with Tart. Tart is the same exact way. Injury. I don't know if it's their frame, the position they're playing, because when they're playing, they play full force. I'm not going to lie. They do play full force. They're great athletes. They definitely help our team. But keeping him around last year at $8.5 million, it was a stupid deal, but it was also smart on our part because we didn't waste that money and we just kept him around. And then he got hurt anyway, so we had room for the young guys to advance and fill in. There's a lot of guys. There's some young guys on this roster that I think are more than capable of filling in for that position who played well in the absence of Jimmie Ward. It really depends on contract. If you're going to give him regular vet minimum, I'm not bringing him back. If you want to give him, if we're paying him $8.5 million a year, I don't want him back. There's no reason. We can literally go with somebody else that's on our roster, as well as draft somebody else that can play that position for the future as well. Jimmie Ward's statistics when he plays are very good. It's just a matter of getting him to finish the game. It's the same that we're going to come up. It's the same kind of talks that you talk about with Matt Breida. Matt Breida is a great running back, but he can't stay healthy. Oh, Marquise Goodwin's a great receiver, and he has potential and has depth to play on this team, but he can't stay healthy. Jerick McKinnon, we haven't seen what he has done because he hasn't been healthy. So you always go out and say, you personally, yes, because this is a debate, you always go out and say, well, this guy's good, but he can't stay healthy. So why keep him? This guy's good. He's not healthy. So why keep him? He can never stay healthy. So that's where I'm going to start off right there.
All right. That's good. That is good, because that is probably one of the biggest blows and knocks against Jimmie Ward is his health, which in turn causes him to be very inconsistent, which in turn makes it hard for the Niners to know where they want to play him. This guy has been someone who has moved all around the team, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But if you're playing all 4 positions in the secondary sporadically, you can't develop any kind of, chemistry, and so I understand how that works against him. But let's start with some of the changes that the team made this year. It's so good that you hit on health. Oh, I'm about to tear your ass up. All right, so you started with health, and that is such an interesting point to start with, right? Jimmie Ward has gone through so many seasons with the 49ers, right? They brought him back for the 8.5, like you said. His 5 years are up. He was a first-round pick. His 5 years are up. He's done one season with 14-plus games. Just one time in his entire career, right? So what do the 49ers do this year? They go out and they get a brand new strength and conditioning staff that believes in analytics and studying, or as John Lynch said, they like to be called the research and development department. They don't like to be called the analytics guys, okay? So they're going to have all these probes and all these things hooked up to Jimmie Ward. Let me ask you this question, Nick. I'm going to toss it right back to you. If the 49ers' new analytical strength and conditioning staff can keep Jimmie Ward healthy, isn't that a win for the 49ers? 2 ways, Jimmie Ward and having a lot of faith in your strength and conditioning staff?
All right, so you make a good point. But it is good for the 49ers, but it also depends on what makes it good, meaning what are we giving Jimmie Ward? Because it goes back to what we're giving him. If we're giving him a 1 year, $2 million, $2.5 million deal, I'm okay with that.
But we'll get to the compensation. There was
right, but I'm just saying. So it would make my decision different, because if we overpay, it's not good for the 49ers. If we underpay, it's a high reward, low risk, high reward type of deal. if you're going to give him that low risk, high reward type of deal, yes, it plays out with the 49ers money-wise, health-wise, and saying that this team has complete confidence in their new strength and conditioning analytics and the way that they're going about things. So it depends on what the contract is to answer that truly, because it could be a no for me, but it could also be a yes.
Right. So I'm gonna come back to the contract thing in a second, but sticking with the analytics, right? You present Jimmie Ward as a case study. I know this sounds bad. Like he's not a lab rat, but hey, he is what he is. You come in here and you say he's broken this, he's broken that, he's pulled this, he's twisted that, and these are the things that have kept him sidelined. Fix him. Is it his dieting? Is it his sleeping habits? Should he be doing more of this instead of that? Help us out. And this is what happens. You have a ground zero. You have a starting base for your strength and conditioning team to start with. So now these guys are going to come in here and they're going to look at everything and see if they can fix him. And if they can, you have if Jimmie Ward were to come in here and he would have played 15 or 16 games, I'm going to tell you right now, the Niners have the best strength and conditioning staff in the entire NFL, because no one's going to take a flyer on him because of his injuries. He's so frequently injured that no other team is going to want to take a flyer on him. And that's going to lead us to the contract talks that you were mentioning. The contract talks that were out there, I believe it was from Matt Mayoko, said that the team was willing to offer him a 1-year deal. But the reason Jimmie didn't accept it yet is because there might be a multi-year offer out there for him. The 49ers were willing to bring him back under a 1-year contract. So when I'm doing this debate with you right now, I'm not saying that Jimmie Ward is the answer for the future. I'm specifically focused on that 1-year contract. So I don't know if we should have established that in the beginning, but we're talking about bringing Jimmie Ward back for 1 year. That said, I'm not really concerned about the dollar amount. I know you said you don't want to give him another $8.5 million, right? We gave him $8.5 million last year, and we still have plenty of cap space. We have a lot of cap space right now. If the team decides that they want to, because you can't tell him, hey, don't look at any other team offers. We're going to give you a 1-year deal for the vet minimum. What's the purpose? He can get that in October somewhere. You know what I mean? You have to kind of entice him to stay, and especially if you want it to only be a 1-year deal. You're not going to offer him any multi-year deals. It's probably going to have to be like a 1-year, $4.5 million with like $3 million guaranteed or something like that. You can't just tell him 1-year vet minimum, come on in. He's not going to take that. He'll get that offer somewhere else. All it takes is one team. Doesn't even have to be right now. So he's too versatile to be sitting all year long. So if it's just a 1-year deal, you absolutely have to bring him back. You 100% have to bring him back.
But even if it's a 1-year deal, the money still matters. And I understand you're saying it. We have the cap space and we have this and we have that. Just think of it. Tyrann Mathieu is probably making $10.5 million a year. Okay? And we're going to pay a guy who hasn't finished 16 games since 2015. Was the only time he ever played 16 games in his career. 2014, he played 8. 2015, he played 16. 16, he played 11. 17, he played 7. 2018, he played 9. He's only got 21 career pass defended. He's only got 30 assists and only 156 tackles with 186 combined. He's only played 51 games in his entire 5-year career. That's 10 games a year on average, missing 6 games, and that's giving him average. If you want, it really depends on the contract. If, like you said, if you come in here and say, if I want to give him 1 year, $4 million, and $2 million of that guaranteed, yes, it's a low risk, possibly a high reward, but you don't know what you get. So we're going into this debate thinking, okay, so we re-signed Jimmie Ward, and this coaching staff is going to keep him healthy, right? When nobody else in the past has kept him healthy. Do you really want to put that money, $4 million and $2 million guaranteed on the block and say, okay, I want to trust in this, take up a roster spot, not only take up a roster spot, but now you're taking up cap space as well, when you could go out and get a guy in free agency who's played way more games in his career and probably has way more better statistics. I'm not basing this off statistics, all off of statistics, but statistics do matter because it's production. So availability, like I said, is the best when you're available. So if we come in here and give him a $7.5, $8.5 million contract again because he doesn't want to lose money from what he made this year, it's definitely not worth it. It really depends on what we give him, as in 1 year, $3.5 million with $1.5 million guaranteed, 1 year, $4 million, $2 million guaranteed. I'm okay with that type of contract and bringing him back, letting him compete, see if he can stay healthy. If he doesn't get healthy, fine. We lost $2 million. But if we're losing $8.5 million compared to $2 million, I'm not okay with that because he hasn't shown me that he can stay healthy.
I'm definitely winning this debate. You're already talking about I'm okay with keeping him. See, you were supposed to be holding your ground on the no.
Well, I'm saying it really depends on the contract because I'm not keeping him for what I think he's going to want. And I think the Niners will pay him what he wants.
What he wants is already gone because it's a 1-year deal. No player in the NFL wants a 1-year deal. Then you might as well tag him. And they're not going to tag him or it would have been done already. The tag price for him would have been what? $11 million or something like that. They're not going to do that. So he knows he's not getting that much money. It's not about what he wants. He wants security for the future. So he knows he's taking a prove-it deal if he stays here. Now, I do have some other reasons that the team should bring him back. Let me run down a couple of things that I have here, okay? You mentioned this player, so I'll say it. He's a poor man's, I'm going to say it the way you guys say it. He's a poor man's Tyrann Mathieu, okay? That doesn't feel right saying it. I like saying Matthew, but whatever. But he's a poor man's version of him, except he's a little bit more diverse. Jimmie Ward plays in the slot. He plays slot, like I said, slot nickel. He plays corner, free safety, and even strong safety. We don't have another player that does that on the team, and you can say whatever you want about that. John Lynch has been looking for that player to do that with. He drafts safeties and moves them to corner. He drafts corners and moves them to safety. John Lynch has been trying to find that guy that he can move all over the place, and so he has that in Jimmie Ward, and that's the infatuation in it right there. If you can tell me that keeping Jimmie Ward is going to stop John Lynch from doing that and ruining these other college prospects because he has that chess piece already, then that's worth it also. There's a built-in value there where we stop drafting corners and trying to make them safeties. We stop drafting safeties and move them out to corners and put them in the slot, and they struggle. I am tired of seeing that happen. And so if Jimmie Ward's cheap contract can do that, then by all means keep Jimmie Ward so John Lynch gets it out of his mind that he needs to find a person that diverse. All right. So you got the diversity there. Short-term commitment. The team only wants a 1-year deal. We touched on that already. Position versatility. We touched on that. Familiarity with everyone on the roster. Now, again, I talked about how he cannot build up any kind of chemistry and rapport with the players on the field, the on-field rapport, the communication through body language and things like that. He can't develop that because of how often he's injured. And our secondary has been a revolving door all over the place, not just Jimmie Ward. You see Tart in and out of the lineup. You see Colbert in and out of the lineup. Ahkello Witherspoon in and out of the lineup. For some miraculous reason, Richard Sherman was there most of the season last year. You know what I mean? But there have been Maben in and out of the lineup. There have been guys in and out of the lineup. So the rapport isn't there for many of the guys. However, Jimmie Ward has been there from the beginning of this regime till right now. He's one of few players that they have chosen to keep around. He has that familiarity, and I think that has a value also. The team knows him. They know what they're going to get, and they know what they're not going to get because they know how fragile he is. So that has to have a little bit of weight to it also, okay? And then the next thing that I'm going to say, and I'm going to toss this one back to you, you can't find another person in this entire secondary that has more film study on what this team wants than Jimmie Ward. Not a single person. So when you're a player, right, and now I'm not the expert here. We might have to phone a friend and confirm this. Eric Crocker might be able to tell you a little bit better. But when you're in the NFL, you spend the offseason learning the playbook and learning the plays. And then when the regular season gets here, you know your plays. You might implement a new play or two, but you have your basic coverages. And then it's game planning. This is going to be my assignment this week, and this is what I'm going to do this week. It's not about let me study the playbook some more. Although they're introducing this, they want to try that. You don't have time for that. You are focusing on the next game and your next opponent. Jimmie Ward, because of the injuries, hasn't had to do that. He's had the ability to sit back and study the playbook. And I'm going to remind everybody of another guy who got the same benefit of the doubt over the last 2 seasons. That's Kyle Shanahan's entire time here. Nick Mullins. They talk about Nick Mullen's preparation and how well he knew the playbook. Some people say that he knew the playbook even more than Kyle Shanahan. I never bought that. I don't believe that you know the playbook more than the author. But my point is that they were so confident in his knowledge of the playbook, and it comes from him not playing, not preparing for a specific task week after week after week. It's because he got a chance to sit back and learn. He didn't have to go out there and study how to beat this defense or this guy on this team at a specific moment. Jimmie Ward is the same way. Because of all the injuries over the last 2 years, what do you say he did 9 games this past year or 10 games? And then how many the year before?
7.
So he's played 16 games in 2 years?
Yeah.
So that means that he's got another season basically just studying the playbook. That's all it is. That's got to account for something. That goes into his intelligence, man. You can't just weigh that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, but that's also assuming. Because you don't we're assuming there that he's hitting the playbook. Like, because there are guys on this team that don't study film.
That's all tracked and that's all monitored.
But
are you telling me that you think a guy that can only give you 8 games a year and that's not studying the playbook, the 49ers are interested in bringing back at all, even on a 1-year deal? You think that John Lynch will be extending that olive branch? That you think John Lynch will be extending any kind of contract offer? If he didn't think
that's really helping Jimmie Ward here in contract negotiations is versatility, being able to play high, low, or corner. That's the only thing that is appealing to John Lynch in this regime right now.
I don't think that Robert Saleh would tolerate a guy that injured. I don't think Robert Saleh would tolerate a guy being that injured on his defense or even potentially entertaining the idea of him coming back if he wasn't studying the playbook. And I understand it's supposed to be a basic scheme and all that kind of stuff, but Robert Saleh and what they're trying to do this year with Joe Woods coming in here, this new secondary coach that we have now, they're going to be implementing some things that are way different, and they want highly intelligent guys out here. There's a reason they still want Jimmie Ward. I'm telling you, Jimmie Ward has gone through how many different coaching changes? We had the Jim O'Neill days, right? Jim O'Neill was with that Chip Kelly? Mm-hmm. Jim O'Neill was with, right? And then Jim Tom Sula had his defensive coordinator. That was I'm having a brain fart. Who was Tom Sula's defensive coordinator? Oh my God.
Wasn't it? Didn't O'Neill stay?
Was it O'Neill? Either way, it could have been. But then you had Vic Fangio's defense in here. He's got knowledge of all of this stuff because he's been here through all of that. And so here we come with another secondary coach, another change in that secondary room. And so you need someone who you know can pick up those habits and study the film and know the playbook quickly. They've got that in him.
But the studying film guarantee you that you're going to play the scheme correctly?
If he wasn't, he wouldn't last. If he wasn't doing it, he wouldn't be making you. Nick, why do you think he's made the roster every year?
Versatility.
Okay, now hear me out now. All right. You think that he's been the most versatile player that we've had for the last 5 to 6 years?
Yeah, he has. He's been probably the only guy that has played corner, top, and low. Give me one other guy that's played all 3 positions in the last 5 years. There's not one on the roster.
Tart has played 2. Eric Reed. Boom.
Eric Reed never played corner.
Eric Reed played linebacker. Eric Reed played both safety positions, and he lined up in the slot. What's up?
Eric Reed didn't line up in the slot.
Bet me money. Bet me money, bro.
Come on. He played linebacker for 1 game.
So what? He still did it.
And how pissed off was he?
He still did it.
All right. So then you want to attack film. You want to attack guys with film. Then what? CJ Beathard has had a ton of time to watch film and still sucks. So that's film study.
So?
But I'm saying, like, what if you're going to base it off coming back because he has time to study playbook or learn the position better, or he has to watch 3 different positions and learn 3 different positions because of versatility, and then when he's not honing in on learning one thing. This year they took the safety position away from him and the low safety position and made him a corner, right? So he all offseason, he knew that he was going in as a corner. He studied the playbook as a corner. So I'm sure that he's probably just studying the playbook as a corner right now, right? It's hard for me to take that leap and say, I'm going to give you this money. I have faith in you that you can stay healthy when he has his track record doesn't prove that at all. Like, so now you want to give him a 1-year deal, right? And then you bring him in, and let's say he plays 15 games. All right. I don't even want to say he finishes a full season. Let's just say he plays 14 to 15 games. He plays lights out. Now it's a win-win for the Niners, right? Now, okay, shit, we're going to lose Jimmie Ward, and we need him in the system. Now we have to pay him a crazy amount of money. And the next year he comes in, he's locked in his contract and gets hurt again.
There's no locked in the contract next year if it's only a 1-year deal. That's all there is. That's all I'm saying. So you can't lose with this 1-year deal. There
is one guarantee in that whole thing. You're stunning the growth of the youth or the younger guys who have been playing all year last year.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm not letting you get that off on me.
How is it? No. Is it not the truth?
No, it's not the truth because they rotate everybody in this secondary. Everybody, even starters. Kawan Williams was sat down. Akello Witherspoon was sat down. Not because they were injured either. They sit guys in this secondary. They do it all the time. That's not.
Yeah, but you can't. They sat Akello because of personal things where he was taking shit to his head. Kawan Williams was hurt. He's never been sat when he's not hurt. He's never been replaced.
That's not true. Kawan Williams was healthy and he wasn't playing.
No, he wasn't. The only time he wasn't playing was when he was injured. As soon as he got back, he was in there. Nobody replaces him. Nobody.
Oh, you know what? I thought he came back at like week 15 or 16, something like that, like towards the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
I thought he was healthy before that. I thought he was healthy before that, and then
no, he was playing, got hurt. Then they rotated people in that position because they didn't know who they were going to use in the slot. Akello got sat down because his head was too big. Remember, he needed to learn a lesson. Other than that, Akello was playing or Akello was hurt and got replaced. So they don't replace the guys as much as you think. It's just we went through an entire roster on defensive side with injuries, and people were playing all over the place. You think they're going to come in if Jimmie Ward, they pay him and he's healthy, they're going to replace him? No, they're not going to replace him. They're going to keep him there, which pushes the guys that played last year who played pretty well, Elijah Lee or whoever, playing down in the slot in the box, is stunning their growth.
No, they don't know. No, absolutely not. They're going to play whoever they think is the better player, and whoever the better player is going to get out there on the field. This team does not do that. They don't have the luxury of doing that. We've seen how these corners look. We've seen how these safeties look and the miscommunications happening out there. You're not getting the start just for the sake of getting the start on this team.
So if Adrian Colbert didn't get hurt, we would have seen a young guy play?
We might have, yeah, because Adrian Colbert was playing really bad. I don't think you sit a guy after 2 or 3 games, and that's all he got. It's not like Adrian Colbert was playing bad for 12 games, and they kept him in there. He got hurt really early.
Right, but you just said one key word there. We don't have that luxury of replacing players. So you just said it exactly while you were trying to feed it off before. We don't have the luxury of just replacing those players. So,
What do you mean? We don't have.
You just say we don't have the luxury of replacing. So if Jimmie Ward was in there, I said that he wouldn't be replaced, and you said we don't have the luxury of doing that. With the young guys stunning their growth.
If he was playing poorly, they wouldn't keep him out there just for the sake of keeping him out there. They would replace him. That's what I said.
Okay, I didn't hear.
Now you said something a while back. You mentioned C.J. Beathard and all the games that he missed and him studying film, right? C.J. Beathard was a starter, so he didn't have 2 years to sit back, or a year and a half to sit back there and prepare the way Nick Mullins did. And let's just say he did. We heard the report that with the VR headset training and all that stuff, there was one quarterback that had the most time charted amongst all quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right, it was Nick Mullins.
And that was Nick Mullins. So even trying to use C.J. Beathard to counter my playbook and studying thing, it doesn't work because I specifically chose Nick Mullins as my guy for a reason. We know that they reward players who are head smart. Nick Mullins is not the most physically gifted guy. Nick Mullins is probably the worst physically gifted quarterback on this roster. However, he's likely to be our backup next season. It's because he's got it up here. It's not because he's stronger or faster, can throw the ball better or anything like that. He gets rid of the ball faster. He's more decisive. He's a smarter quarterback. That's why he's going to beat out a guy like C.J. Beathard, who can throw the ball further. You know what I mean? Who's physically tougher. But that's not what it's about.
Right, but then exactly. But you can't go and just. It's a proven fact that Nick Mullins has study tape because he was listed as the #1 quarterback on the VR system throughout the entire league. You have no proof of that for Jimmie Ward.
My proof is that they wouldn't want an injured guy who doesn't give you time on the field, as you've been saying all along, or been trying to say. The best ability is availability. You've been trying to say that the entire time, right? He's not available, so that ability is taken away. There has to be something that is keeping him here. We have all, as 49er fans, seen him go through the 4 or 5 different defensive schemes or coordinators or coaches. All right, he's about to get another one. And there has to be, if you don't have the availability, right? The contract option, it was an option year. They chose to bring him back. And now they want to bring him back for 1 more year. So if it's not the availability and what you're providing them on the field, what is it that's keeping you around? The only other option is the intelligence, bro.
Because the only thing I can think of is they want to see him stay healthy, to see what they really, really got. None of these coaches have gotten a full exposure of Jimmie Ward in a full season. Not one. In the last 4 years, not one single coach has had a full understanding of who Jimmie Ward is. They know that he can play corner. They know that he can play safety. They know that he can play in the box. I understand that. I'm not saying that when he's healthy, he's not a versatile player and that he's not a good athlete. But not a single one of these coaches have had seen a full season and a full evaluation of him other than in training camp.
And he's not always been healthy even in training camp. He's pulled things in training camp and it didn't work out for him. And he didn't start the season.
So if they can get him on a cheap deal, that's what they're going to do, because they haven't been able to see what the actual evaluation is. They see the talent, but they don't see the player.
They see the talent and they see the study habits. They haven't seen him put it all together consistently on the field. And
exactly.
That's why they want to bring him back.
It's the same thing with Solomon Thomas. It's the same thing.
It's not the same thing with Solomon Thomas at all.
How's it not?
Solomon Thomas plays. Solomon Thomas is on the field.
Right now.
He hasn't been sidelined due to injuries often. Like that's not a Solomon Thomas thing. It's completely different. Completely different. All right. So I don't want this to linger on. I want people to decide. We can read the comments on this. When you guys watch this video, let us know what you guys think. Let us know who you guys think won the debate. I think I smoked Nick on this one, man. I felt that way last week also. I felt that way last week also about the Robbie Gould thing. This is going to be something that the reason we chose this one, just like the Robbie Gould, is that we're going to find out the answers soon. That's why we're choosing these type of things, so that way we can get some results soon. It's still Robbie Gould's thing. I thought that maybe we'd be like, all right, I was right or you were wrong. But like Nick said, they kind of went between the two of us. I'm saying one tag. Nick is saying, yeah, tag him. They kind of got us right in between there. We both wanted to see him back. On this one, I think it's a little different. I don't think Nick wants Jimmie Ward back. I think if you had it your way, we're not bringing him back at all, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just think we should just allow our young guys to develop more, who played that position pretty well last year. It wasn't like we got hurt at that position last year without Jimmie Ward on the field. And I'm not saying that if you put Jimmie Ward and a rookie next to each other and let them play a full season, that the rookie's going to be better than Jimmie Ward. But why take that chance? Just we weren't hurt last year, as in who filled in for Jimmie Ward, played pretty well. It wasn't like a Malcolm Smith out there. It wasn't like, some guy that, I can't even say anybody else. Corey Lemonnier or somebody like that was out there who was getting toasted all the time. They played the position. They played it average position, right? There wasn't real highs about them. There wasn't real lows about them. So you're on the right track there. So, and you're probably only paying these guys $470,000 compared to paying guaranteed money at $2 million or $3 million, and it really depends on the contract. If we can get a healthy Jimmie Ward, I see flashes of him. I'm not saying that he's a bad player. Don't get me wrong on that fact. But to take that chance when he has 5 years of his contract to prove that he could stay healthy and hasn't done it one single season other than one, and only has a combined pass defense of 21, and he's only got 100 and what did I say? 100 and.
Hey, look, I mean, I can trash him with stats and numbers. I mean, everyone lives and swears by PFF. I mean, right? Last year he was ranked overall 84 amongst all safeties. I don't know why they had him ranked as a safety, but whatever. He was ranked in coverage 83rd amongst all safeties. Grades of 55.2 and 51.3 respectively. The stats aren't going to tell the story because of the injuries and because of how often he moves around. I'm not even sure how he qualified for his safety last year, but it is what it is, you know. I don't want to keep going. If there's any other things you want to say, you know, the floor is yours, but I rest my case.
You rest your case. All right. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm hoping the Niners make the right move. I'm hoping they make the right mindset move, as in looking at what we have on this roster, as in can Jimmie Ward be replaced? Because as of right now, he can be replaced. He's already been replaced. So to bring a guy back on a higher contract just to get him here, to keep him here, to evaluate and see what he actually can do for a full season is not worth it, in my opinion, because he hasn't proved anything in 5 years. Jimmie Ward is a great athlete when healthy, but the problem is he can't stay healthy. So I say, and my debate ends, as in we should not bring Jimmie Ward back. He has not proven anything to us as 49ers fans. As fans, I don't know what he's proved to the organization or what he's film study or whatever, as Mike was saying. To me, I view off my eyes. I haven't seen Jimmie Ward out there in a long time, number 20, well, before 25, 25, then 20, on the field consistently and making us win games. Or if he's not out there, we're also not losing games because of that position. So why spend the extra money when you could get him there or bring somebody else in if he wants that high of a contract? Now, like I said, it really depends on contract move, but I rest my case.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Well said. Nick doesn't see the value in it. I see the value in it. Intelligence, position versatility, and he'll be really, really cheap. So that's it. Let us know what you guys think. Leave some comments for us, all right? Like, rate, review. We appreciate it all. I'm going to get up out of here, guys. It's been another fun Sunday debate day. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful.
We out of here.